If you do a quick Google search, the kobold can be a mythical sprite, a small reptilian humanoid creature, or even a monitoring device for temperature. In the video game world, the kobold is a Hyperius submachine gun in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. And in this video, I'm going to review that Hyperius submachine gun in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. What's up YouTube, Zero here, and today we're going to talk about the Kobold Hyperius Submachine Gun. First, I'm going to go through the overview of the Kobold that you're seeing in this video. Then I'm going to go into some more gameplay and talk about the pluses and minuses of this Hyperius Submachine Gun. Then at the end of the video, I'm going to get into Fate or Hate. Is the Kobold fated to be in the Fate Maker's inventory, or are you going to hate it and should you trash it immediately? Before I get into it, I do want to say if you do enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more Tiny Tina's Wonderlands content. I do a bunch of other RPGs, so feel free to check those out as well. Without further ado, let's talk about the Kobold. So I have the Frothing Kobold of Deadly Depths. I just mentioned that this was a Hyperius Submachine Gun. The damage is at 236, the accuracy is at 73%, handling is at 69%, reload time is at 2.4 seconds, fire rate's at 8.88 per second, and the magazine size is at 25. This is enchanted for the Blight Caller. When an enemy is damaged by a Spirit Swarm or Bog Spirit, they take 20% bonus poison damage from companions. This has plus 10% critical hit damage, plus 15% fire rate, plus 44% weapon ward capacity, which I'll talk about in a few seconds, plus 20% melee damage, and 1.5 times zoom. You can see the look of this Hyperius Submachine Gun. I actually really like the look of this gun. It looks really sweet and unique, a very futuristic type design. So that's a plus for the Kobold. So now let's talk more about the gun. Hyperius in general, for those of you who don't know, is the Hyperion of previous Borderlands games. And their MO is adding a shield to your gun. So that's what the weapon ward capacity is. When you're aiming down the sight, you have a bonus shield. Now, despite the fact that you do have a bonus shield, I've never felt that really those shields add much or do much, especially on the higher chaoses. So it's really negligible. It's not much of a benefit to have, but it is there, and I'm not going to detract from that. So it is a slight plus, the slightest of pluses. It does give you a little added bonus for defense, but really not a ton that's going to make a huge difference. Now, this does have a very quick fire rate, and the reload is fairly quick as well. 2 pluses for this Kobold. Unfortunately, the gun just doesn't deal a lot of damage, despite the fact that it does have a very quick fire rate, and the reload is very good. The bullets just aren't doing a ton of damage when they are hitting their targets. And that is an extreme drawback, especially when comparing the Kobold to other submachine guns that you can obtain. Even though this gun's firing quick and reloads quickly, you're just not having that much of damage output, where you may have to go through a few reloads before you can finally take down a beefier enemy. Of course, you can take down some of the lesser enemies fairly easily, but that's not what you want a gun to do. You want to focus on some of the major enemies. How is it going to do against bosses? How is it going to do against enemies that have 3 layers of health when you're running through the chaos rounds? And the Kobold just doesn't hold up to some of those beefier enemies due to its lack of damage with each bullet. To complicate matters, this is a Hyperius, and Hyperion guns from previous Borderlands games and Hyperius in this game fall enemy to the recoil. These guns really don't have great recoil. The Kobold is no exception. The recoil is a little bit more difficult to control than other submachine guns in the game, which does detract from it as well. Now the sight on this gun is actually fairly nice. I do like this 1.5 times zoom. I also like the frothing, how it very well complements my build. I am a blight caller, so it does do very nicely. I'm a blight caller spore warden, so my mushroom companion is dealing poison damage. It does really coincide nicely with my build. So now that I've talked about the pluses and minuses, let's get into fate or hate. Is this gun fated to be in the Fate Maker's inventory, or are you going to hate it and should you trash it immediately? The Hyperius Submachine Gun is okay. It can get through lesser enemies alright, but when it comes down to dealing damage to the heavier enemies, it just didn't hold up. There are a lot better submachine guns in this game. This one just doesn't deal enough damage for me to confidently use it in the Chaos Chambers. So for that reason, I'm going to hate it. But let me know in the comment section if you've used this and if you like it. I don't, but that doesn't mean you're not going to. Hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, peace.